Hi, welcome to the first ever episode of our new podcast, Late to the Cinema. I'm the host, Graham Jones. I have a guest here today, Nate Davis.
Hi.
We're gonna talk to him about his favorite movie later in the podcast, but first I'm gonna go over some stuff that will be in this podcast. This is the first episode, so I'll do a quick rundown of what we'll be doing here. I see a lot of movies, so I'll review whatever I saw. Then we'll go over the box office. It's called Late to the Cinema because these get released way after the time that the box office is maybe new news. But I think a lot of kids that will see this video probably aren't going to have seen that yet. So I'm hoping I can be the first provider of that information. And then I'll have a guest on and we'll talk about their favorite movie. But I'm going to go into the first topic, which is going to be a review of the movie Ford v. Ferrari that stars Matt Damon and Christian Bale. It's directed by James Mangold, I think that's how you say his name. He did the movie Logan a few years ago. That was a pretty big movie, I guess. Yeah, that was a pretty big movie.
Yeah, it was big.
Yeah, but this movie is about, they never actually say when it takes place, but it's the 60s.
60s.
And it's about the company of Ford, not sponsored.
Unlike the movie.
About Ford trying to make a race car to beat Ferrari in the 24-hour Le Mans race, I guess. And Christian Bale is a race car driver, and Matt Damon's the creator of the car. And I think this movie's okay, but I can definitely see a lot of people not liking it, and I also don't really think it's worth being in theaters. It's got good performances, which I expected. Christian Bale and Matt Damon do a good job. They usually do a pretty good job in movies. And I think the direction's pretty good. I don't like to say that the scenes with the actions are the best part of the movie, but I would say here that is the case, that racing scenes are the best part of this film. They really get your heart started, and you feel yourself gripping onto the edge of your seat and stuff. But at the same time, the story is very conventional, along with all the other characters other than the two main leads. It's the same. Every beat that's gonna happen. It's based off real life also, so you if you do know any research about it, you know how it's gonna end. But it follows the typical, underdog story. And all the other characters other than Christian Bale and Matt Damon's character are characters you've seen before. There's the bosses of the two companies that are both they're a little bit scummy, but it's well, we gotta take the orders from them. But then there's gonna be a scene where one character proves to them that they can do it and stuff. And you've seen movies like this before, and it's a 2.5 hour long movie, which is, you definitely feel it in the theater. By the end, you feel like you've been sitting in that seat for a long time. And I could see it definitely being a crowd pleaser to some, but I also think it's not worth a ticket price. Maybe if you're interested in seeing it all, maybe just maybe see it if you're interested in it, but I would suggest wait till it comes out on digital or Redbox, whatever you use. So yeah, it's not terrible, but it's not great either. And yeah, and it's a movie that's sponsored by two car companies, so it's kind of one big commercial. But yeah, I'm gonna give it I'd give it a 5 out of 10, middle of the road, not terrible but not great. But a lot of people love it, so it's probably gonna get nominated for an Oscar, performance, or probably Best Picture also. I could see. Yeah, but yeah, that's the review of that. Now I'm gonna go over last weekend's box office, which actually had a lot of kind of like surprising things. Recently in the box office, there has been a lot of surprising wins and actually more surprising loses. Number one was actually Ford v Ferrari with, let's see, it was made $31.5 million in the box office this last weekend, which would have been surprising to 20th Century Fox, which produced the film a few weeks ago, but coming closer to the release of the film, they actually all of a sudden made their prediction for the film about that. So I guess it wasn't a surprise to them, but I mean, I don't know. I do find it funny that I would describe the film as like a drama, maybe.
Okay.
And I've noticed like mainstream dramas. That's what I describe it as. Have been getting more like traction, and you know, Joker at first made a lot of money, and maybe that's because it had the IP connected to it. But like, I mean, that's kind of like a mainstream drama film.
$1 billion.
Yeah, it cracked $1 billion just this last week, I think. Yeah,
very recently.
That's kind of crazy. In second place, we have the movie Midway, produced by Lionsgate, and I think it made, let's see, $8.5 million. And it was number one the weekend it came out, which was a surprise to a lot of people, because it was the same weekend that the film Dr. Sleep was released, which Dr. Sleep was a sequel to the horror classic The Shining, so I think a lot of people expected that to be in number one, but it didn't really pull through, and this last weekend it fell all the way down to sixth place, which is kind of sad. I didn't actually love the movie all that much, but, you know, it was kind of sad to see that at the same time, but
what was Midway about?
Midway is a sequel. It's a story about like the effects of Pearl Harbor. It's a war movie.
Okay.
I didn't see it. I didn't think it looked very good.
Yeah, it sounds boring.
Yeah. Also it looked really cheesy. It's this dude that made Independence Day, and he doesn't make great movies.
The only one I've seen of his is Independence Day, but I didn't like it.
Yeah, it's not a good movie. So I mean, yeah, I didn't see it. Every time I saw the trailer, there's a line that made me laugh. Where like, I don't even remember the line that much, but every time I saw it, made me laugh because it was really cheesy. Moving on, third place. This was kind of a surprise to some people, but other people really didn't expect. It was Charlie's Angels, the third reboot. Well, no, it's the second reboot because there's the '70s show. Right, then they did like the early 2000s movies, and then there's the third reboot. And that made, let's see. That made $8.4 million.
But still a flop.
Yeah, that's a flop. That's, in fact, a bomb, which is kind of we've seen that more recently, like reboots almost, like of big action movies failing. Like, for instance, Terminator Dark Fate's the most recent one.
That looked bad. I didn't see it, but
I saw it. I didn't actually hate it. I mean, it's not a great movie, but it's definitely... it's like... dumb fun. That's what you would define as dumb fun. But like, that didn't make that much money. That was kind of a flop. And I think that's a trend we're starting to see of action movies and reboots failing, which might be a sign to Hollywood. I don't know.
Detective Pikachu flopped too, and that was like projected to make big bucks.
Yeah, a lot of people like that. I didn't like that. Did you like that movie?
I never saw it.
I
meant to see it over the summer. I meant to pirate it, but I didn't end up doing it. But don't pirate movies.
Don't pirate movies.
But like stealing from big corporations, like wink, wink. You know?
Wink.
Like do what you want to do. Wink, wink.
Anyway, so moving on. Fourth and fifth place in this last week's box office was the sure-to-be classic Playing with Fire, starring John Cena. What a classic movie. That's kind of been making... It's not like a fail. It's not making tons of money, but it's not a fail. It's actually kind of like, for what they expected, it's making more money.
It's exceeding expectations.
Yeah. And then fifth place with Last Christmas, which is
Oh.
yeah. Did you ever see trailers for that movie?
I did. I saw too many
Yeah,
trailers for that
well,
movie.
I didn't see it, but I read there's a twist at the end. I won't say it in case anyone that sees this actually does want to see that movie.
No one
But
on
the
Earth wants-
the twist, you gotta look it up. You
No,
will
I know what
laugh.
the twist
You know,
is. Yeah.
you will laugh. It's
It's
so
so
funny.
stupid.
It's so funny
It's-
but stupid. Like,
yeah.
like they took they took that title a little too far.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that like the screenwriter was so proud when
The
he came up with
screenwriter was
that.
so proud when he came up with this idea for.
The twist.
Yeah, the greatest twist of.
Also, it's exactly what you think it is when you talk. Like it's one of two possible
Yeah.
twists in this movie.
Exactly. If you've seen any of the trailers, you can probably guess what it
Yeah.
is. I'm just gonna do quick what I wrote down for I think the this next week's what my predictions for the box office is. Disney is making so much money, and it's gonna probably have another big hit this weekend with Frozen 2.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
been long waited. I
Mhm.
think that's gonna make about $126.7 million right now.
Sounds fair.
Yeah, and it's gonna probably have a pretty big hold. I mean, we're getting into the holiday season, which
Mhm.
means a lot of family movies, but Frozen's probably, I feel like, gonna have a
It's-
pretty
yeah.
big hold. It's an animated movie.
Right.
Maybe parents don't want to take their kids out the first weekend to the
Mhm.
movie, but you know. Then in second place, I was thinking the movie A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood,
Oh,
which
Tom
where
Hanks.
Tom Hanks plays Mr. Rogers. I think that's going to be about $18.6 million.
Yeah.
I know a bit of a drop from the
Uh-huh.
last number, but still, I think it's gonna make money. You know, Mr. Rogers is a big part of people's
Yeah.
life. So, I mean, the documentary last year that came out about
Good
that did
job.
pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a good movie, and yeah.
But this seems like it's capitalizing on the doc
Yeah, it
success a little
does.
bit, you
It
know?
does. I
And,
was
like-
a little like, really? We're already
Mhm.
doing this? I mean, we had a fantastic documentary.
Right.
And I've heard a lot of people say in their reviews that like they like this movie, but the documentary is better.
Yeah, I'm skeptical
Yeah.
about this one, but I'm gonna see it.
You are?
Yeah, oh,
Oh,
yeah.
I'll see it too. Yeah. And then I think the other big movie, 21 Bridges, made by the great Russo brothers.
Mhm.
Fantastic. I think it's going to probably not actually do that well. I think
Mhm.
it's going to take $9.8 million. I think it's going to kind of fail. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's my opinion on that.
By the way,
21
for all you listening at home, you probably know the Russo brothers from the Arrested Development pilot. And
Yeah.
have they done anything recently? Or?
Yeah, you know, the new Avengers movies.
I hadn't.
You didn't know that?
No, who?
The-
I haven't heard of these.
You,
The Avengers have movies?
yeah.
Oh,
Surprising, I know. Yeah. Yeah, there's a few.
People don't. Do people?
They're
like
under
them,
the
or-
radar.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
kind of
that's
like
what I
a,
thought, yeah.
cult following.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's too bad the last one didn't make that much money,
Right.
you know. Let's talk about your favorite movie.
Okay.
What is your favorite movie?
All right. My favorite movie is Wet Hot American Summer, directed by David Wayne,
Yeah.
and written by David Wayne and Michael Showalter.
Yeah, so I haven't seen this. I should have watched it, but I haven't seen it.
Tut.
So I'm going to ask you first, when did you first watch this movie?
I watched it. It's probably 2 summers ago. I got it at Suncoast, the video store at the mall,
Yeah.
because I had heard good things and I liked a lot of the cast.
Mhm.
So I picked it up and I watched it, and I was skeptical for like the first 20 minutes, but then after that I was in.
So what is this movie about? I have a feeling from the poster and the
Uh-huh.
name, but give me an idea of what the movie's about.
All right, it's very subversive.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes place in 1981
Oh, yes.
on the last day of camp at a
Mhm.
summer camp in Maine, a Jewish summer camp.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a satirical take on like the raunchy like sex comedies of the 90s. Am I allowed to say sex on here?
Sure. Sure.
And it's a lot of the cast of the 90s sketch show The State.
Mhm.
So the movie kind of takes on a sketch vibe where it's mostly in like
Yeah.
little vignettes.
Mm-hmm. try to convince me to watch this.
Okay.
Like I'm interested, but like, tell me why you think it's such a good movie.
Okay.
Also, like,
Well, I think it has one of the best casts of like any movie maybe ever.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people were in it before they were famous. It was Bradley Cooper's first film role, as well as Elizabeth Banks's first film role.
Yeah.
An early role for Paul Rudd. He'd already done Romeo plus Juliet and that romantic comedy he was in.
Yeah.
But this was, I think, his third.
Now, the real question is, had he done Halloween 4 yet?
No,
5, sorry.
When did Halloween 5 come out?
I don't know. I just know that he plays like someone, and I just know he's in one of the Halloween movies.
If he was in that Halloween movie after September 2001, it came out like right before 9/11.
Fun. I mean, not fun
And
at
like
all.
premiered in, that's like one of the reasons it bombed, is because
Yeah.
it came out like right before 9/11 and was mostly showing in New York.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was thinking like if it came out after, a lot of people might want to
Yeah,
go see that and be like, "Yo, I need something happy to see." But
No,
like, I guess
right.
it bombed right because it was before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also has Amy Poehler rounding
yeah,
off
Amy-
like the big names
Yeah,
of the cast.
Yeah. And you think it's a pretty funny movie?
It's a hilarious movie.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Very funny. Wow.
It's a lot of like taking comedy tropes and then just like turning them on their head. Like there's like 3 dudes in the movie that like are like broing out all the time, and one of them is a virgin, and it's sort of a twist on like the like let's get this guy laid plot. Turns out the guy they think is a virgin is gay and is having the only like mature like romantic
Yeah.
like relationship among them.
Yeah.
And they find out, and then they go, McKinley's and then the F word, and then what are we gonna do? And then it cuts to black, and we're thinking like, oh, they're like, this is gonna take like a homophobic turn.
Yeah.
And then in a later scene, the 2 guys enter into the dining hall where the 2 gay guys are eating, and they go, McKinley and Ben, this is for you. And then they take out a huge box, like a huge box, like, it's a chaise lounge. We didn't know if you already had one, and we kept the receipt if you want to return it. It's just like a gift for them.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think that scene's convinced me to go watch it now.
Yes, I
Yeah,
won.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, because I wasn't gonna go. You had to convince me. You had
Good.
to. You weren't. You. I was definitely not gonna. I wasn't gonna be like, no.
It's
you
on
haven't convinced me.
Netflix, so there's no excuses. And then there's a prequel miniseries and a sequel miniseries.
And what do you think of those?
The prequel is incredible. It's even better than the movie, and it's got it expands its incredible cast out even more.
Yeah.
It's got Michael Cera. It's got Jordan Peele.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're-
Lake Bell is in
Yeah,
that.
they're all good.
Yeah, it's incredible. And Weird Al. He's
Weird.
in it.
Oh, Weird Al's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Jason Schwartzman. So it's
all funny people.
all hilarious people.
Yeah,
And
very
it's 8 episodes. It's incredible. The sequel series, I thought they had kind of run out of steam, and it was harder to get this huge cast back together a second time.
because they're almost doing all of them. I feel like are like at their height right now.
They couldn't get Bradley Cooper for that one.
Yeah.
And they recast his character with Adam Scott, and then they had Adam Scott be concerned that his camp friends would notice he got a nose job. And then that was the
joke.
The joke is that the nose job changed his entire face and body.
Yeah.
But it had its funny moments, but it didn't capture.
I
the
like
same
Adam Scott,
magic.
but like I guess like it's probably not doesn't live up to.
Yeah, he's not Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, he's not Bradley Cooper. Exactly. Well, I think I'll check it out.
All right, good.
I think it sounds like a good movie.
It is.
Well, that's about the end of our podcast. Thank you for checking it out. If you have, this has been Late to the Cinemas.